What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And as the title stated, this is something you need to check on your Ram TRX or Ram RHO now. If it's not been done, you need to do it yesterday. Now, what we're talking about here is transfer case fluid level and front axle fluid level. We are standing in front of a brand new 2025 Ram RHO, but I am a technician that's been inspecting all the Ram TRXs previous to the RHOs since 2021. And one thing that I have found on every single one is the fact that the factory is leaving the transfer case fluid low. And by low, I don't just mean a little bit, I mean often up to a half quart low. Now you might wonder, well, what issues is that going to cause? And unfortunately, TRXs and RHOs have the same clutch type transfer case. It is very dependent on fluid for clutch lubrication and for the longevity of clutch life in that transfer case. I've seen a bunch of transfer cases or seen a bunch of TRXs that have had transfer case over temp messages, and oftentimes I'll find those have low fluid. Now, in my life of checking in Ram TRXs and now checking in Ram RHOs, I have found, again, every single one low on fluid. Now, what we're gonna do today is show you guys the correct fluid and show you kind of the fill procedure for that transfer case and for that front axle. So starting off with our transfer case, it does require a special Borg-warner fluid. I should hopefully have that here up on the screen. Again, I don't know where else you'd get that other than online or at a Mopar dealership, but fortunately, you're only going to need 1 quart of that because, like I said, they're all about a half quart low. That is as simple as removing the fill plug, taking that bottle, and then filling up until the fluid runs out. Moving up to our front axle, again, early on in the TRX world, oftentimes those front axles were a quarter to a half quart low. As time went on and now into RHOs, I'm finding that those are considerably less low from the factory. Again, we will top it off on this truck, but it took very, very little to top off the front axle. Now, do you need special dealership fluid for the front axle? No, we do not have any sort of clutches in that front axle. The factory fluid is a 75W85, but it absolutely will not hurt the truck if you put 75-140 or whatever you've got. It is just gear oil in that front diff. Moving to the rear diff in the truck, I have yet to see one come in low or empty or what have you. They have always been filled to the bottom of the fill plug where they should be. So there isn't really any need to check or top off that rear diff. You can absolutely do it if you'd like to, but again, I have never found one low, unlike the front axle and transfer case. So let's get this truck into the shop. Let's fill our transfer case, fill our front axle to make this new 2025 RHO hopefully live a long life with fluids filled from the factory. All right, guys, so we are starting with a almost full bottle here. You can see we are, what, 3/4 of a quart of our transfer case fluid, just so we can kind of see how much is actually going in this thing. That fill plug is a 3/8 drive. You can get your ratchet right in between the transfer case and the exhaust and get that fill plug out of there. Now we want the fluid all the way up to the bottom of the fill plug, so just barely trickling out there at the bottom. And again, a bottle with the little spout here works really well. You can kind of hold your finger on the end, tip it up and over, and then quickly get it going into the fill hole and just start filling. Continue filling until we actually have fluid coming out of the fill hole, just like that. Now we can quickly get our fill plug put back in and tighten back down. And then we will make sure we clean up any residue we've got here running down the back of the transfer case. And guys, here is that bottle that was what, 3/4 full, and we are down to 1/4 or so here on the bottle. So we used a 1/2 quart of fluid to get that transfer case topped off. So guys, now moving up to the front diff here, you guys can see our fill plug. This is an 8mm Allen. And now I will say, like I already said, these have been coming relatively close to full. So this might not be as big of an issue as that transfer case. But again, we've got our axle fluid here. And again, filling it until we get the fluid running out of the fill plug. And then we can go ahead and throw the plug back in. So guys, there you have it. Whether you are a current TRX owner or a now new current Ram RHO owner, it doesn't matter. They all left the factory with low fluid. Now, like I said, every single TRX that I checked in at the dealership new since 2021 has had low transfer case fluid. And like I said, some of them were somewhat low in the front axle. So unless you know your TRX or Ram RHO was checked in by myself at my dealership, I highly doubt that technician was thorough enough to top off fluids, because I think I'm the only technician probably out there doing that since I'm an owner myself. So do yourself a favor, go get you some fluid and top off that transfer case and double check that front axle fluid. I hopefully was throwing up the correct bottles of fluid as this was going on. Like I said, the transfer case fluid is the only one you really need to make sure you get the right stuff for. That front axle and rear axle for that matter, it really does not matter on a TRX or RHO. There are no limited slip clutches, nothing. We just have gears in the front and an electronic locker in the rear. So as long as it's gear fluid, 80W90, 75, 85, 75 140, as long as it's gear oil, you can dump it in and top it off. The only thing, like I said, you're going to want to grab is that correct Borg-warner transfer case fluid, because it's a weird hydraulic clear fluid for that transfer case. So next time you get the opportunity, go out in your garage, get your RHO or TRX fluid topped off and get that truck a little bit more happy before you go beat on it off-road or on-road or down the drag strip or while towing or whatever. The options are endless with these things. So guys, thanks for coming out into the garage and the shop and the cold Kansas weather with me today, and hopefully taking care of your Ram RHO or Ram TRX a little bit more. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.